Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of advanced trigonometry questions. This first one, if you look carefully at what we've been given, we've got an angle of 42, we've got a side AB, a side AC given, and we've been asked to find the length of BC. Always start an advanced trig question by labelling the sides that you don't know with the correct lettering. So we're going to label this side A, because it's opposite angle A, this side C, because it's opposite angle C, and this side B, because it's opposite angle B. So there's your opposite side and angle, A opposite angle A, and C opposite angle C. And then we're ready to start. So we can see that because we're trying to find small a, and we know B, C and capital A, we're going to be using the cosine rule, which you will be able to read off your formula sheet directly. So it is a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. And then you're simply just substituting. So where you see the letter B, you're going to replace it with 7. Where you see the letter C, you're going to replace it with 10. And where you see the angle A, you're going to replace it with 42. So you will then write down a squared is equal to 7 squared plus 10 squared minus, and then I usually use brackets here, 2 times 7 times 10 times cos 42. Now at this point you probably could just type everything that you see on the right hand side into your calculator. And if you do that, just be careful that you put the brackets in where the brackets are, and you will get an answer of 44.95973. So just make sure you do get a bit of practice in typing that into your calculator to get the correct answer. And then to find A, we're just going to take the square root of that. And when we take the square root of that, obviously don't clear your screen in your calculator, just take the square root of what your answer is, or square root answer, and you get 6.705. Now that's the length of A. Usually at this point you need to do a little bit of rounding, and rounding at GCSE normally is to 3 significant figures. So there's your first, there's your second, there's your third. So we are going to be rounding at this point here. And the 5 is going to make the 0 go up. So your answer for your length BC is 6.71. Go back up and look at the units. You can see it's meters, and you have rounded to 3 SF. That's that one done. So this next question, a little bit different. You can see that you've got an angle and an opposite side. And you've got a side, and you have to find the opposite angle. So what we're going to do with this obviously then is use the sine rule. And the sine rule on your formula sheet has the letters A, B and C on it. We are using P, Q and R in this question, and I'm not going to change the letters. So I'm going to point out the fact that this is capital P, then this is small p, this is capital Q, so this is small q, and this is capital R, so this is small r. So we are ready to start our question. The sine rule states that you've got a length over sine of the angle. So P over sine P equals Q over sine Q equals R over sine R. Now in this particular question, if you look carefully, you'll see that we don't have any information on P, so we can't use that part of the sine rule, and you will always find you can only use 2 parts of the sine rule anyway to find a missing part. So the bit we're going to use is this part here. And if you look carefully, you'll see then we can just replace our Q with 8, so 8 over sine Q, where obviously you can see Q is the angle you're finding, so that's the unknown, and that is equal to R, which is 11, over sine r. If you look carefully, there's our r, and sine r is sine of 51. So sine of 51. And if you remember in class, the quickest way to solve this part is to cross multiply. So 8 is multiplied by sine 51 and 11 by sine q. I would advise that you multiply this first, and that means you've got your unknown on the left. So you've got 11 sine q is equal to 8 sine 51. Now at that point then you can see what you're going to do is try and get the sine q on its own, and that involves bringing the 11 over and dividing. Now I'm just going to move up here to finish. So we've got sine q, which works out to be 8 sine 51, and as I've said already, this 11 over here is going to come over and be divided. So divided by 11. So we work out our value for sine q, and that's just by typing those this information here into your calculator, and that gives us 0.565. Now there are more numbers after the decimal point, and I wouldn't clear your screen at this point. I would just keep it as it is and then just find the inverse sine to find your value of q. So q is the inverse sine of 0.565, and that works out to be 34.4 rounded to 3 significant figures, and that is your answer for angle q.